Hey there. Well, this week I'm coming to you hot and messy and sweaty, fresh from the garden. We just had some trees taken down, so that created a kind of a cascade of projects that we needed to do in our backyard. And so I'm going to share a little bit with you about that. But first of all, here's where our beautiful ash was, our beloved ash tree. Our backyard tree really felt like they were like a guardian for us, and they contracted emerald ash borer, which millions of ash trees in the United States have, and probably elsewhere too. So unfortunately, yesterday it was taken down. We knew it was coming for actually quite some time, like a couple of years. And so it was time. It needed to come down. It was unsafe. And it's made room for new things, new life in our yard, right? And the process of preparing for when our tree was going to have to be taken down brought up a lot of stuff for me. A lot of stuff surfaced. I think that anybody who loves nature and has a real connection with the nature that is right outside your door, right in your backyard, we develop relationships with these beings, with these trees and plants and animals, and we can experience grief when they are gone. And the grief that I have been working through in the last few months, I think, is a grief that has become increasingly common in our culture, our society today, and that is anticipatory grief. I've talked about this before. It's that knowing that a loss is going to come, that you can foresee it. It's not, a shock or a surprise, which is another kind of trauma, of course. But anticipatory grief is different because, of course, you see it coming. So you have all of that time and, inclination to ruminate and to think and to really be in that sadness while before the loss happens. And this can happen with the loss of a person, for sure, any loved one, a companion animal, but it can also happen through anticipating a big change in your life, like, kids leaving for college and moving your home and changing jobs and all of those things. So one thing that I just wanted to normalize in this episode this week is that anticipatory grief is a real thing, and it's something that a lot of us experience, and it may bring up other emotions and other deep feelings and wounding that we have around the whole topic of loss. And for me, because my mom died after a many-year battle with Lewy body dementia. She has been gone for about 12 years now, and that was a long, drawn-out period of anticipatory grief as well. So I think at the time I really didn't even understand that I was going through essentially the grieving process in anticipation of her loss. And so And then I think it's worth noting that once the loss happens, I feel, and I'm sure there's lots of research done on this, but I feel like the grief, it transitions, right? Because the loss has happened. The thing that you have been anticipating and maybe being very anxious about and maybe being very sad and stressed about happening, it happened, right? And then what's next? And I think just the whole process of planning for our tree to be taken down, and I had a beautiful connection with this tree. I mean, it's our backyard tree. I've had many conversations with this tree, so many tree hugs, saw our kids enjoying it in so many ways with their swing, with their zip line, all sorts of good stuff. So we are so thankful. We have so much gratitude to this beautiful tree spirit. and everything that it provided us. And I think that that is one of the kind of, silver linings to anticipatory grief, is that if we allow ourselves to be with it, to be with the knowing that a big change, a loss is imminent, that if we're very mindful and intentional about being grateful for the time that we have with whatever that is, whether it's a person or an animal or a home or a job or anything, when we are in that place of mindfulness and we're in that place of presence, it eases the grief. I'm not going to say that it's going to go away and that everything's going to be, glitter and unicorns and skipping through the prairies, but I think that it helps us process the grief. I know that it has for me. Being mindful of the time that we have with the loved ones that we have, and the loved places and spaces and beings that we have. So I feel that this, leading up process to our tree getting taken down yesterday, it really allowed me to get closer to the tree and have more gratitude for everything that we've been able to experience because of that tree's kindness and generosity and presence in our lives. And so we hopefully are going to be planting an oak tree in its place. And our backyard has changed dramatically in terms of just the spaciousness. I think is the big thing that really hit me today, was coming outside and that sense of space and openness, expansiveness. It did come with a little bit of almost like a vulnerability, like an exposed, that we're exposed now that we don't have the tree. But it also comes with the ability to see the sky. And last night I came out a few times to just stand in the middle of the yard and look up at the stars because it was a pretty clear night. And so, that saying, my barn has burned down and now I can see the stars, it's true. I mean, there's a reason that we have sayings like that, right? Because they can help us understand that the loss and the fear and the anxiety that we can experience with change is a normal condition. It is a normal part of our human experience. And the more we can allow ourselves to be in presence with what is available to us in the moment, it can just, I think, allow us to heal wounds that we may not even know need healing. And boy, isn't that just what Mother Earth is all about? I feel like every time I spend time in nature, in my yard, just puttering around the garden, there's always a gift to be found there. There's always something that nature, Mother Earth, Gaia, whatever you want to call this beautiful experience, this relationship that we have, I feel like there's always an invitation for receiving more healing from Mother Earth, and have certainly been experiencing that in the last few days. There's sadness, yes, of course. This is not about escaping uncomfortable feelings or dismissing them or, covering them up or bypassing them. It's really about allowing yourself to be in that place of discomfort, and still see the beauty and the gratitude and the compassion that we can tap into in the moment, in each moment. Hi, thanks for joining. I'm all messy. I'm in the garden. We've been doing a lot of work, and we're actually in the process of transplanting a dwarf Japanese maple, which needed to be relocated because of our trees being cut down. There were actually 2 trees that were taken down yesterday. Also, our very old crab apple that was kind of falling apart and just needed to be removed. So it's been a lot of work to rearrange things. Everything feels a little out of place and just different. But I'm thankful for the time that we had with the trees in our lives. Just like I'm so thankful for the time that I had with my mom, and I'm so thankful for the time that I had with my grandparents and with dear pets that have passed on. So if you are experiencing a loss, or especially in anticipation of a loss, like I talked about, that anticipatory grief, I, with so much love, invite you to be in nature, whether it's just sitting on your doorstep and watching the clouds or watching the trees, especially this time of year, because we're in such a time of change that nature will constantly be reminding you that it's all a part of the cycle. And I know that sounds so cliche, the circle of life and the cycle of life, but it's so true. It is exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. So look to those things in nature that for you give you a sense of rebirth and renewal and the transformation that is inevitable when there is a loss in nature. Transformation, that energy transforms into something that can then bring more life. And I know some people don't believe that anything happens to the human body after death, and I'm not talking about afterlife necessarily, but you know that just energy transforms. You know this if you have an appreciation for nature. You see it all the time, and we are no different. So just as something that is literally leaving its physical form on earth, moves on, transforms into energy of a different sort, we are constantly transforming as we live through this wild and crazy journey of life as humans. And know that that energy will transform within you. So I just want you to know that if you're struggling right now, especially with grief that either you're holding or that you are anticipating, spend more time with nature. Spend more time with nature. See how everything is cycling, everything is transforming, and just understand that this is a part of our experience. This is what our bodies do. This is what our spirits do. And so I'll just leave you with that today. And I didn't even introduce myself. Hi, I'm Stephanie, eco-intuitive coach and teacher. Such a joy to be here with you today, feeling very informal because I'm all messy in the garden. But I hope that this resonated for you, and I'll be posting more stuff about just this process of the trees coming down and everything that was involved, and the gifts that Mother Earth has been providing through that experience. If this kind of thing resonates within your heart, especially if you're struggling with anxiety or grief or any really heavy emotions, I welcome you to click the link in bio and learn about my group coaching program, which is called The Sacred Grove. Our next gathering is going to be on October 10th. That's just a week away. And I am really looking forward to meeting with a group of like-hearted women who are seeking to reclaim your peace and your natural wisdom through connecting more deeply with Mother Earth. So if this calls to you, please check out the link in bio, and I look forward to seeing you again next week here on Instagram Live at 2 o'clock for another episode of Reclaim Your Peace with Mother Earth. Thanks so much. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Bye-bye.